Hiya, my name is Matt and this is my channel Beer, Wood, Bigfoot, Ghosts, where I talk about any one of those four things: beer, wood, Bigfoot, ghosts. These are things I think about a lot, spend a lot of time and energy on, sometimes keep me up at night thinking, Today is part 2 of my bathroom remodel project that falls under the wood category. Today I'm going to talk about the sink support that I built inside of this bathroom and also the trim work that I did. So let's start with the sink support. Get you a good, decent look at this. This is rough sawn pine that I had purchased probably 4+ years ago for another project at another location. And it was dimensionally true at 2 inches by 8 inches. So I cut it down, planed it, jointed it to give me basically this piece right here, right? So the support that you're going to see here in the pictures was constructed of that. I felt it dried long enough that it wasn't going to be a problem. A lot of times when you're using pine, especially new growth pine, it can be an issue with moisture and then something warping after you've installed it. But this is, even though it was new growth pine, it dried for 4 years. I have a moisture meter. I checked it, all good to go. So I'll show you some pictures of what we did there. I used carriage bolts to attach it on 2 sides. The back wall where the vanity faces and also the wall to the right. Those are both typical 2x4 construction. Not done very well, but 2x4 construction. I say not very well because the walls are a little janky, a little uneven, a little crooked. But I used carriage bolts for extra strength. And then on the wall that to my left, as you're facing that sink area, that wall is a concrete block wall. So I used these concrete wall anchors, and they were 3.5 inches, and they basically drill through the concrete. You push this bolt in, and as you tighten on the head, it draws back this piece inside, and that piece inside flares out like a metal sheath, and that metal sheath is what gives you the gripping strength inside the block. So with 3 or 4 of those installed, and also with the back walls being lag bolted in, I feel like I've got plenty of support. But you're going to see in some of these pictures that I also have a couple of pine legs that are going to be on the front end of it for additional support, because this is an old cast iron sink. It probably weighs, I don't know, 140, 150 pounds. And so I want to make sure I have enough support that we're not going to have a problem. Okay, so that's that. So what I did with that is I sanded it just a 120 grit. Didn't go much finer than that. This isn't a hardwood where you want to go with finer grits up to 220 maybe. So just being pine, I went with 120. I also did not use a pre-stain treatment because 2 reasons. One is the stuff I had coagulated in the can. It was no use to me. But then I did a test piece, and on that test piece, it looked really good. So I didn't worry about it at all. The stain I used is Minwax, and this stain is a provincial. That's the tone or color, and it's oil-based. So just 1 coat of that. I basically applied it with a foam brush and an old white sock, and then wiped it off after probably sitting on the pine for about 2 minutes. Waited a couple of days to dry. In the basement where I'm installing this, in that bathroom, very low humidity. It's actually really cold down there. The air conditioning works really well in the house. So not a lot of moisture in the air, but I still waited a couple of days. And then I did 2 coats of top coat, and this is Minwax. They're Helmsman Spar Urethane. It's made for wet applications. And I've used this on a lot of outdoor projects, sign I made that goes up front by the mailbox, etc. So you get really good protection with that. So I have 2 coats on there. Since this is a sink and there's going to be spillage and water coming on, I want to make sure it's protected well. So you'll see that in some pictures I'm going to show you here in a moment, and a couple little videos. The second thing I did is I installed crown molding around the top and also base molding. And what I did is I bought PVC, right? Plastic, basically, because this is in a basement. There has been some moisture problems in the past. I think I've corrected those now. But it can get, during the summer, if the air conditioner's not running all the time, it can get a little humid down there. And so I don't like to use traditional wood sources for trim in situations like that. So the crown that I use, this is PVC. See if I can get a profile of that. There we go. So it's a nice looking profile. It's not too beefy, but it's just enough. And did the typical miter to corners, got it up there. This side goes to the ceiling right here. That side goes to the ceiling, that goes downwards. But there was such a terrible job done, and whoever built this, if you saw my first video, there were two previous owners. Each lived in the house for about 20 years each. And it was just, nothing was straight, nothing was true, nothing was plumb or what have you. So there was some large gappage at the ceiling. So what I did is I bought this PVC piece here. See that profile? And I used that on the top to make up that difference. So if I can get these both to show you here, this basically took up the gap up to the ceiling because it's flexible, right? So I could flex it and push up the ceiling. And then I was still left with some gappage, and you'll see the footage here and some pictures. So I used traditional latex caulk, right? Painted it all out. The trim work is painted in the same, this crown molding trim work is painted in the same color as the walls and the ceiling so that it kind of disappears any imperfections. That was done on purpose. The baseboard, I bought a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of PVC plastic. Comes in 1/2 inch thickness. It's right behind me. You can see the big sheet. That's what's left so far. That was $100 at Home Depot for that entire sheet. And the beauty of that is I'm getting all the baseboards out of that. I'm getting some trim work that's on the side of the shower. And I'm also going to get the baseboards and some additional trim work that's going to be in this entrance or ante-room before you get into the proper bathroom itself. If I would have bought traditional 5-inch or so baseboard, PVC baseboard, for those two spaces, both the bathroom itself and then the anteroom, you're probably talking $225 for that. So for under $100, I'm able to do it all and have leftover for additional projects. And again, it's a little flexible, right? So that's the beauty of the PVC. And then when I got to the concrete wall itself, I just used a really good extra holding construction adhesive. And I used dumbbell weights to push up against that to hold it in place to dry. You'll see some footage and some pictures of that as well. So that's basically the trim work. The baseboard is going to stay white. We're not going to paint that as the wall color. So that's going to be as it is. And that's basically it for this video. We'll see you in part 3, which I think I'm going to cover the actual refinishing of that cast iron sink. Don't forget to support your local tap rooms, and the struggle is real. My name's Matt. This is Beer, Wood, Bigfoot, Ghost, where I talk about anything under one of those 4 subjects. Broad subjects, I get it. Beer, Wood, Bigfoot, Ghost. Thanks for watching. Bye ya. All right, so what are we wearing? What are we drinking? Give you a shot of this. Just an old t-shirt. Basically, it says, ask me about, this is social distancing. A friend at the brewery I worked with in New Jersey bought me this shirt. It was in the middle of COVID, as you can well imagine. Love the shirt, great fit, great quality, and thank you. So what are we drinking? Well, we're going to drink a beer offered by Costco. Costco's Kirkland Helles Style Lager. Okay, why are we drinking this? I shop at Costco a lot. My wife and I do, and I buy a lot of wine there. They've got a really good wine buying program at great prices, obviously. It's Costco. And I pass an aisle one day, and I see this stuff sitting out in 12 packs, and I'm like, huh, that's kind of curious. I'm going to look that up and see what it's about. Saw some really good reviews, got some information about it, and thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So it is a Helles style lager, which is a one of many different German lagers, right? It's a particular type of German lager. It's oftentimes compared to a Czech Pilsner, except for a Helles style is generally maltier, so that means it's a little sweeter and less bitter or hoppy than a traditional Czech Pilsner. But I think I often see people making comparisons to these two beers. This one comes in at 4.5% ABV. It comes in 12-ounce cans in a 12-pack, available at Costco. And listen, I haven't tasted it yet. Will soon. It was like $13.49 for a 12-pack plus tax. So pretty affordable, right? Can't go wrong. If anything, it'll become a lawn beer if I don't care for it so much. The beer itself is brewed by kind of one of the old school craft brewers called Deutsches Brewery up in Bend, Oregon. And I know I'm probably saying that wrong. They've been in operation since 1988. They're fairly commercial now. They got a lot of beers out in the market. And this one, I don't know how that relationship started with Kirkland and or Costco, but they're doing this Helles style lager now. Again, 4.5% ABV. And a little research tells me it won the 2023 Great American Beer Festival Gold Cup in the lager category. So, what am I drinking out of? I hope you can see this on camera. My brother gave this to me on a recent trip just after my birthday. And it says, "Congrats on being my brother, you lucky bastard." It's got my name on it. It's got my brother Dean's name on it as well. So we're going to drink out of this glass. Let's do it. Hope you're watching, Ed. Right away, see it's got a nice kind of straw color. Pouring a nice head out of there too. Let's get that up to the camera a little bit. Well, we got a little bit left in the can, but let's just take our first smell. Get a little bit of a sweetness there, but really there's not a lot of aroma. I'm not picking up a lot from the beer. Let's give it a taste. First impression's good. You know, it's not bad. It's a relatively decent representation of that style, Helles style. I'm a bit biased because I've had some really good Helles style lagers, both in Germany on trips in the past, but also at the brewery I work, South Main Brewing in Watkinsville, Georgia. We had a really, really good Helles style lager on tap and used a Lukert tap for that, which if you don't know anything about a Lukert tap, it's a traditional Czech tap used for Pilsners, and it was a really, really good beer. Out of stock right now. Hope to get it back in soon. But yeah, pretty good. I can. It is a little sweet and malty. Low bitterness. You can tell that right away. There's no aftertaste that you get a lot of times with a high bitter beer, so none of that's there. So it's kind of true to form. Good, I like it. You can see the head stays in place, which is nice. Yeah, not a bad beer. I think I'll enjoy that 12-pack. Again, Kirkland's Signature Zone Helles style lager, and it is brewed by Deutsches Brewing out of Bend, Oregon. Hey, nice job, guys. Enjoy.